To the inaugural Basketball Hall of Fame Challenge, and today from the U.S. Airways Center in Phoenix, it's game one of our doubleheader. Number 21 Gonzaga taking on number 25 Texas, featuring freshman sensation Kevin Durant. A little later, a terrific matchup in game two. Number 16 Arizona taking on Illinois. Welcome to the Valley of the Sun, everybody. Dave O'Brien, delighted to be joined by Bill Raftery and Jay Billis. Alan Hopkins joining us in just a moment. Gentlemen, it's a month into the season. Let's try to size things up. And how about for Gonzaga, Jay, and without Adam Morrison? So far, so good.
Well, you never want to lose the nation's leading scorer, but as strange as this sounds, Gonzaga may be better this year because they're sharing the ball a little bit more. They don't have the go-to guy, but they're also a little bit better defensively. Josh Heitfeld in the middle gives them a shot-blocking presence, and the guy they can throw it down to really gets off his feet well.
I have some bad news for you. You'd never make the Texas starting lineup. How about the talent level? I mean, it's extraordinary. They can shoot threes, run the floor. I'll be curious how they handle half-court offense. I think that might be the key for them this year, Dave.
Let's get to Star Watch here for game one. Texas has not seen a big man like Heitfeld yet this season.
Well, Heitfeld is big. He is strong. He can run the floor and has got a terrific touch inside. He's going to be a load for Texas to handle.
Well, if Rick Barnes uses his head, he calls timeout. He says, Kevin, what do you want to do when we go back out there? We'll see if he does that.
To the starting lineups now, presented by Pizza Hut. How young are the Longhorns? Well, the Greenhorns, 4 freshmen and a sophomore starting for Texas. Mason, James, Augustine, and Durant, all rookies. For Gonzaga now, Derek Ribio could make this a fascinating game if he's on. Jeremy Pargo is an up-tempo guard. He loves to push it. Both teams really love to score a ton of points. And later today, a terrific game is mentioned, Arizona, Illinois. That is a rematch of the overtime NCAA regional thriller from 2005. A heart-stopping comeback and a victory for Illinois. You got to look at Rick Barnes in his 9th year at Texas. His team falling one victory short of the Final Four last spring when they lost to LSU in the Elite Eight. Otherwise, it would have been Barnes' second Final Four appearance in 3 years. Going head-to-head with a very good friend of his, Mark Few, last season, taking Gonzaga to its 3rd Sweet 16 in the 7 years that he's been at the helm.
Both coaches have done extraordinary jobs. Mark Few turning Gonzaga away from a mid-major into one of the most powerful programs in America, and Rick Barnes winning 30 games again last year. I'm not sure there are 2 better coaches out there.
Yep.
So it's Texas and Gonzaga, number 25 against number 21, to elite programs to battle it out here in the first game of the doubleheader. The inaugural event, the very first game of the Hall of Fame Challenge. And from the NBA floor, the U.S. Airways Center, the home of the Phoenix Suns, and it's like a who's who in the NBA in the crowd here today for both of these games. Sean McDonough, thank you so much. Gonzaga and Texas all set to go. Gonzaga coming in with a 7-1 record. They have already knocked off North Carolina. That was in the NIT in Madison Square Garden before falling to Butler. And Texas as loaded as any young, talented team in the country.
I know you were busy yesterday, photo shoots and things of that nature, Jay. Texas worked a lot against a 2-3 zone. I think the big concern is if Gonzaga goes that way, how they handle that end of it.
Well, and Gonzaga's got a lot of matchup difficulties in this ball game. Most importantly, Kevin Durant, the outstanding freshman. It'll be interesting to see who guards him throughout the game.
And is he guardable? He's averaging 22 points, 9.5 rebounds. He'll jump it up and win the tip. And we're underway. Texas in the white and the burnt orange, and Gonzaga in the blue.
Yeah, Gonzaga, Dave O'Brien, and Jay Billis. Go!
A.J. Abrams, he's averaging almost 20 a game. Durant taking a short jump shot, knocked right back out to Abrams, who's doing a lot of scoring, kind of behind the scenes as the sophomore on this team of great freshmen.
James with a nice shot, keeping it alive.
Augustine. James got a hand on it, but unable to slow it down. Here's Abrams from 3, and he knocks it down. Texas gets the first points here in the inaugural challenge game.
17-3.
What a difference a year makes in A.J. Abrams. Last year, more of a backup point guard, distributed the ball. This year, he is scoring like crazy.
And threes. Last year, 39%. This year, 51, Dave.
He's gone from 6-man to star. Altidore Cespedes off the mark, off the back iron for Gonzaga. And here comes Texas. Mason, one of those freshmen. He's out of Amarillo. Another three-pointer. How about the kid Durant, who can't do anything wrong in his initial 7 or 8 games.
I'm not sure this matchup of Sean Mallon on Kevin Durant is going to last too long.
He gave him plenty of space. Now when he hugs him, watch the bounce to ecstasy.
Now for Durant, it looked for certain he'd be in the NBA right now out of Montrose Christian School. Backing down Mallon. Nice move going to the glass strong.
Nice experience there. Drop, step, and finish with a little kiss.
Well, there you can see the post-defense difficulties that Texas has straight up and down for Kevin Durant. And great job by Mallon of using his body with the drop step.
DJ Augustine, another freshman out of New Orleans, gives it up. Durant driving to the right, a little leaner. Around and out, battles for the rebound. Right back up, and got that one to go.
You can see how he set it up with the outside shot. Such size and anticipation.
And you can see how long-armed he is as well. A wingspan of 7'5".
Let's go back to the Pizza Hut starting lineup. As mentioned, Texas with 4 freshmen. Abrams is the only veteran, so-called, and he's just a sophomore. And we talked about Josh Heitfeld, the 6'11 sophomore for Gonzaga, coming in averaging 17 points and 7 rebounds. Now in the NIT final against Butler, Jay, he picked up 2 quick fouls in the first 2 minutes. He had to sit for about 8 minutes. That changed the whole tenor of that game.
Big factor in the game. You can see the high screen and Heitfeld stepping away.
His three-pointer is going to go down from deep on the wing. That's Heitfeld right on cue.
And that's a difficult matchup. He's being guarded by a freshman, Damian James, who's never guarded a big guy like that.
Look at Durant again. Not this time, and Heitfeld there for the rebound.
The pick and pop, very effective for both centers.
Inside, down low, it's Mallon trying to establish himself. Sean Mallon at 6'9" and some muscle. Here's Abrams not going to wait around. His three-pointer won't go. And a whistle and a foul underneath with 17:25 left in the first half. And the pace really picking up here.
Well, this is just a veteran sealing off inside. Did the work early. The early offense of Sean Mallon running the floor. And again, Kevin Durant playing straight up and down instead of denying his man that position by meeting him at the free throw line and bumping him off his path.
Heitfeld picking up his first foul.
And Mark Few giving you an answer. They got some inside game. Dribble drive.
Heitfeld got a piece of it on the block. And Gonzaga to really push the tempo. Outside, it's Rivio. And he nails it. A three-pointer for Derek Rivio. If he's on, it could be an entirely different game than you might expect.
He was unselfish. He ran and cleared out. Ended up the beneficiary. Opened up the lane for Pargo.
Well, how nice was that going against the grain?
Mason inside. Tough move by the freshman out of Amarillo, who earned his first college start on November 21st against Nicholls State. And it was the first time in Texas history they had 4 true freshmen on the court at the same time.
And Dave, you can just see here the wing all the way down and through. Rivio comes into the screen, opens up the lane for others. A little nylon. Boy, he's shooting the ball well lately.
Boy, and that is so hard to guard because he was going against the grain. Everyone trying to stop the penetration. Really, the guy that needed to stop that was DJ Augustine coming in transition defense. But that is a very difficult play to deal with.
Quick move, Augustine off the glass and in, lightning fast. DJ Augustine, the freshman out of New Orleans.
A little lingerie on the deck. He can lose some people.
A lot of offense, but both these teams need to improve their defense.
Rivio again, long distance off the back iron, tipped up. Abdullah Kuso getting in as Heitfeld has taken a seat for Gonzaga. Opening minutes here, Texas on top 12-10. And a tough rebound in traffic there by Pierre-Marie Cespedes. Only 6 feet, but he can get up. Pendergraft will launch and hit the short jump shot. And here comes Gonzaga.
You know, the Suns play here, by the way. Does this look familiar?
Do they play this fast?
That's the question.
Now David Pendergraft has drawn the assignment on Durant. He is a very tough defender.
I'd like to see Durant get inside a little. Well, he can do it with the bounce. I think he's got post-up ability as well.
Mason's three.
Well, they want him to get in the post, Kevin Durant, so that he can draw some more fouls, but he's a different kind of postman than LaMarcus Aldridge. They wanted Aldridge to get a foot in the paint and really anchor himself in there, but they can give it to Durant a step or two off and let him face up and make a move.
He can manufacture post-up.
Pendergraft left alone for a moment, missed the short jump shot. And Texas on the attack, Mason. Abrams will leave it off for Durant, already showing his range big time. Just had it taken away by Kuso there as he went right into traffic and had it ripped away.
He was actually trying to make a pass. A little bang here. Rivio initiating the contact. Very unselfish by Durant, actually cost him.
We have a timeout with 15:06 to play here in the first, and Texas leads by 3 over Gonzaga.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Zales, the Diamond Store.
From downtown Phoenix, Arizona, we welcome you back to the U.S. Airways Center. Dave O'Brien alongside Jay Billis and Bill Raftery. We're talking a lot about Kevin Durant. The rest of the country will all season. For more on the freshman, let's go to Alan Hopkins.
Well, Dave, Kevin Durant may be the best player ever to come into the Big 12 Conference in his 10-year history. A big reason why he's been heralded as the best player in the country is his mother, Wanda Pratt. His mother, who's always been pushing him hard, always said he's talented and gifted. But one time, to make sure that he was not sloughing off, she made him run a hill by their house in Maryland 75 times. The hill 50 feet high. What'd she do while Kevin ran the hill? She read a book. And safe to say, Jay and Bill, that behind every good player in this country is a hardworking mom.
Who's got a good book?
And a handy hill. Incidentally, Rick Barnes, we got a foul here on the inbound, a 5-second call. Rick Barnes brought Kevin Durant to Media Day, the first time they brought a freshman. Did you get invited as a senior to the ACC Media Day?
No, my coach didn't want me talking to the media.
Well, you did have some players on that team, by the way.
Durant says that Texas was the very first school to send him a recruiting letter, so they were in his heart quickly and in his mailbox as well. That was when he was a freshman in high school. Texas with the ball here up by 3 over Gonzaga.
It's like a matchup zone look. They're staying home.
Durant trying to create himself. Fouled by Pendergraft, who thought he got all ball on it. He thought it was a clean block. Let's take another look.
Yeah, Durant's one of these guys, Jay. He just elevates enough for the release.
Yeah, he's not a super athlete that's going to get way off the floor, but what he does, he's so long and extends, he's awfully hard to deal with. He plays much bigger, I think, than 6'9".
Would be in the NBA right now, but the league prohibits young men from entering the draft until 1 year after they leave high school.
And you have to be 19 years old.
And have to be 19 by the end of the calendar year they wish to be drafted. But he has called that a blessing in disguise. He said, I've learned so much in just the handful of weeks I've been on campus and now into the early part of the college basketball schedules. Actually been some talk that maybe he'll hang around for a couple of years.
He's going to be fun to watch, hopefully. 2-3 here now. The counter at the other end.
I don't think it's a given that a guy like Durant or even Greg Oden are necessarily going to leave.
Rivio buries another 3, starting to heat up in the early minutes. That makes it 17-15.
You own your house, right?
I own part of it.
You want to wager it?
Just too much money on the table.
The bank owns most of it.
Oh, got to squeeze it. Nice run and a good look. Margo de Cuso.
If you're going to play this Gonzaga team in any kind of zone, one guy you have to shade to is Rivio. He is their best three-point threat. You can take a chance on some other guys, whether they're going to knock down threes, but you cannot take a chance with Rivio.
You know what they do well, though? Dave, Pargo takes it one way, and they do cross-court it so the zone jams and gives the open look.
Here's Durant again. Very nearly an NBA kind of a 3, but the foul underneath. And with 13:56 remaining, it's actually picking up his first foul for Texas in a 2-point game. Gonzaga, the way Rivio is shooting, with the opportunity here to take the lead.
Well, Texas needs to be more patient. That shot will be there for Durant later on in the shot clock. He needs to get inside a little bit more.
Yeah, he's settling, isn't he?
Yeah, and they're not making Gonzaga guard them. You got to make 2 or 3 passes and move the defense.
Gonzaga also gets number 15, Matt Bolden, another outstanding freshman, into the contest. Elected not to shoot it there. Rivio's open for 3. Tough rebound. Cuso right back up. Rebound batted to Bolden in traffic. Here's Rivio bouncing to Pendergraft on the baseline for a tough basket.
They will not back off. Great pry with the bounce. Extra pass, beautifully delivered.
There it is.
There's the carry. The palming violation been so prevalent here in the early games. We'll catch 2 college hoop games tonight on ESPN and ESPN2. First at 5 Eastern. It's Illinois taking on number 16 Arizona. And then at 7 Eastern on ESPN2, Georgetown against number 10 Duke. College basketball on ESPN and ESPN2 tonight on a day filled with action on our family of networks. Matt Hill entering the game here for Texas as well.
6'9" in height, 7'2" with the afro.
They love his hair.
He's got the Morrison look, but he's on the wrong team.
Yeah, that's right. Bolden jumps inside, knocked away. A little contact there with Hill, but no foul. Yeah, Hill is an easy one to find. Out of Lincoln, Nebraska. His teammates have been kidding him. They actually play basketball in Lincoln, Nebraska, but he's showing they do. Augustine off the front rim. Pargo can really turn it up. His dribble drive and the foul as well. He'll go to the line. Boy, he is quick on quick.
And strong. I mean, that's what's impressive. He turns the corner. He's so explosive, Jay. And then he uses that shoulder.
Well, they're just taking advantage of a young team's poor transition defense. Not a good job of stopping the ball. Augustine, you can see backing up all the way. It wasn't that he hit him that hard, but just made that contact because Pargo's so much more aggressive in keeping the defender off balance.
And you know what I've seen in tape, Jay? He crosses the ball over well, but that time the same hand changed. It was just a juke and keep it going and explode.
Earlier this year at a Coaches vs. Cancer event at Gonzaga, Tom Crean worked with Jeremy Pargo and some of the other players. I was at the workout. Really worked with them a lot on pick and roll offense and the way they could attack defenses better.
A lot of second efforts here for Texas. Number 25 coming in, scoring 86 points per game, but both high-octane offenses. Abrams pulls up and pops a nothing but net. That's a two-pointer for A.J. Abrams. He's averaging almost 20 a game, 19.7.
And Durant with the screen and then the roll to the rim. Usually he will pop back.
Heitfeld and Mallon both in for Gonzaga, but it's Pargo knocking down a two-pointer.
Jay's right. The defense has been somewhat lacking on both ends.
Well, that's why I think you need to throw it into the post and make them guard you.
Hill got the shot off, but fouled. He'll go to the line to shoot two. Matt Hill to go to the stripe. And, in fact, one of the teams that he was thinking about playing for, one of the schools, was Gonzaga. Here's Pargo on the attack. He has shown the ability to drive it and shoot it from downtown as well. Gonzaga on top, 22-19 here in Phoenix. We're in the first half. Great to have you along. And Monday Night Football coming up this week. A look at the matchup.
Every time this season Carolina finds success, they seem to follow it with failure. Now Steve Smith and Keyshawn Johnson's team must play with a playoff urgency. With their star on the shelf, the Eagles face a must-win at home. Big playoff implications as the Panthers visit the Eagles at 8:30 Eastern on ESPN's Monday Night Football.
It's the Basketball Hall of Fame Challenge, the inaugural event here at the U.S. Airways Center in Phoenix, Arizona. Gonzaga and Texas and Arizona and Illinois. And the school's getting a chance to visit area hospitals. The Texas team visiting the Phoenix Veterans Hospital. Rick Barnes and his kids doing a great job kind of livening up the days of some of the patients who are delighted to see them. They're getting a first-hand look at one of the great young teams in the country. Rick Barnes coaching Kevin Durant, the 6'9 freshman, along with Matt Hill, another 6'9 freshman at the line here as he short rims the first one. His big hair has already made him a fan favorite in Austin, but he's contributing.
And by the way, this city has really done a great job here entertaining the teams. The fans have come out, great support.
Well, a large measure due to Jerry Colangelo. They've done a really good job with this Hall of Fame challenge. Brooks Downing, formerly at the University of Kentucky, now with Game 7. They've really done a great job promoting this event and putting it together.
And how about Division, John DeLeva, Scott Zuffalato, whose dad, of course, we both know, former coach, Bob. They're doing a good job getting it inside. But getting back to the Hall of Fame, to move it around the country and get people exposed has been an extraordinary move.
Look at the help side defense. Everybody in the lane. They're going to try to cut off these drives.
Durant low this time, but he's traveling with it. A turnover by the Texas youngster who hasn't shown, at least early on in this game, Jay, that he wants to play down there very much.
Well, he's still learning his way around. It's a lot easier to play on the perimeter. He's got the skills to do it. And right now, Texas going with a 2-3 zone, try to keep the ball out of the middle. But I still think they need to get it inside to Mallon and Heitfeld because they're both good passers and finishers.
Not a bad move here without Rivio on the floor.
Heitfeld kicks it out. Shot clock at 15 for Bolden. Was one of the great high school shooters as a senior in Colorado last year. And a spectacular career. Mason spins the other way. Hill didn't look like he was really expecting the pass, but foul there with 10:59 to go in the first half.
Well, you know, there's so many good offensive players. I'm sure you wouldn't expect it either. Big guys in the last resort, Jay.
Well, you know what they did? Right now, both Gonzaga on the last end of the 2-3 zone, then in transition, they're putting the other team in a position to foul them. The nice drive and dish inside to Hill. That's what got the foul. They need to get the ball inside, whether off the pass or off the penetrating dribble.
Rivio back on the floor for Gonzaga. The top returning player for the Bulldogs. Had another terrific year last year. Zaga finishing 29-4. Top 10 in both polls. At one point, they ripped off 20 consecutive wins. Eventually moving on to the Sweet 16 before dropping a 2-point heartbreaker to UCLA.
They go straight up man with Rivio back on the floor. He's an influence. Here's the high-low. Do a nice job with that.
Mallon flashing there, but he's held up and fouled with 10:48 to go in the half.
That really puts a lot of pressure on Connor Atchley inside with Mallon trying to seal him off. And if you get good pressure on the ball, and I thought Matt Hill did a nice job of getting pressure on the ball where the high post passer can't see in as well.
Connor Atchley with the foul there, trying to slow up Mallon. Rivio on the wing here.
They've been getting the ball inside and kicking it out against this zone. That's the recipe to beat it. There it is.
Up top, Heitfeld, but he draws the double team. Backs it out. Thought about shooting it.
And Mallon's so experienced. Knows how to get free. Here's his influence on the offensive end. And the big fella looming there.
Heitfeld to tap it in. He gets the bucket. And Gonzaga has opened up a 5-point lead that slowed things down in their half court as well. And that frustrates Texas a little bit here. You know, they want to get out and run.
Well, it makes them guard. And you make a few passes, there's going to be a defensive breakdown with such a young team.
You got to force them to play half court, Texas, right at this stage of the year.
James mishandling the weak side rebound, out of bounds.
You know, one of the things with Josh Heitfeld, he didn't play a lot inside last year because of J.P. Batista. But now that Batista is gone and that space has been freed up in the paint, Heitfeld is getting the chance to show that he is a big-time prospect.
And we know he can step outside. And terrific asset closing mismatches.
Against North Carolina, he had 19 points and 8 rebounds.
This could be Bolden, if I'm not mistaken.
It was Bolden on a screen. They were trying to screen Heitfeld down into the low post.
So the youngster Matt Bolden hit with the personal. 9:53 to go in the first half. And Mark Few coming off another very successful season. His 6th consecutive West Coast Coach of the Year honor. Now, these two guys are very tight. Few and Barnes, the head coaches here in Game 1. We go back many, many years. Spent a lot of time on the phone with each other during the course of the season. And they are indeed very good friends.
Tough shot. I don't care if he makes it. Always can get that late.
Abrams misfiring on the 3.
Oops.
Little jump here by Mallon. Off the front rim. Had a wide open 3 there.
Should have put it down and gotten a step or two. Nice anticipation by Pargo.
With the theft. And takes it right back. Here's Heitfeld. That's a 3, but short.
Gonzaga's letting Texas off the hook here. Now, they've had 2 straight possessions where they've taken some questionable shots by their big guys in transition. They don't need that.
I tell you, I love Heitfeld, though, stepping. That's his shot, too, Jay, you know? He hasn't had one.
James surrounded out. Pargo with a rebound. Gonzaga coming in 7-1. Texas overall 5-1. Their only loss to Michigan State in mid-November. A 2-point defeat. Rivio goes crashing in, but he traveled first before the contact.
Heitfeld was begging for it. He should have just dumped it down.
College basketball continues on ESPN Tuesday. 2 games in the Jimmy V Classic. First at 7, it's Oklahoma State taking on Syracuse. Then at 9, Louisville will be battling number 16 Arizona. We get a look at the Arizona Wildcats of Lute Olson a little later on today. The Jimmy V Classic presented by Siemens on ESPN on Tuesday.
That's going to be a fun game between Oklahoma State and Syracuse. Oklahoma State had a great game against Missouri State out of South Padre Island. And boy, Missouri State awfully good. Syracuse has a real battle against Wichita State today.
Abrams long with his 3-pointer, but pushing underneath with 8:30 to go in the half.
I think it may have been Mallon, if I'm not mistaken. Jay, what were you saying with Butler beat Gonzaga?
I called Mark Few, who I've become very good friends with over the years, and was teasing him a little bit, saying, boy, it stinks losing those mid-majors, and then because he's been doing it to everybody for so long.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mallon with his second foul. Augustine jumping into the paint, and it's Cuso to drive it right back down, out of bounds, off Texas.
Got to make some decisions when you get in there. Make yourself available if you're a big guy on the baseline.
And right now, Gonzaga, number 21, with a rather comfortable-looking 5-point advantage. And they have changed the whole tempo of this thing the last 5 or 6 minutes.
Texas is going to have to toughen up defensively and get some stops.
Pendergraph looking inside. Heifeld again stepping out for a moment for Gonzaga.
I think it's important that Pendergraph screen and keep Durant, but not a good entry.
Cuso throws it away. Texas to try and run. James is out in front, and he'll lay it in.
Usually he would have thrown that down. He didn't get quite the explosion he usually does, and that's a bad mistake.
Couple of mistakes here. Cuso being chastised.
Texas on the attack. They've cut the lead to 3 on the bucket by James.
Scott Reese back in the studio. The wait is over. Super Frosh Greg Oden will make his season debut. He won't start for Ohio State, but will play against Vandy. That game can be seen on ESPN Plus and ESPN Full Court. Of course, we'll keep you posted here throughout the day from the studio. Dave?
Scott, it's a day for watching talented freshmen, is it not? Because Arizona's great freshman, Chase Budinger, will be taking on Illinois a little later today. And who do you like? That's the question as we're looking at Durant here today as well.
Well, Durant's got the greater upside for his long-term future because, I mean, he's a special talent, but so is Budinger. I mean, Chase Budinger has got a terrific touch. He's a big-time scorer, and he's a versatile player. I mean, he's a big-time volleyball player as well.
Buddinger's better without the ball, Dave. He really has a good feel for the game. Durant is terrific with it.
2-3 zone now for Gonzaga. And that's going to be interesting for Greg Oden later on. I know he's nervous. I talked to Thad Matta this morning about their game against Valparaiso this afternoon. And boy, a guy as good as Greg Oden, been on his biggest stage. He's going to be nervous when he gets the Crusaders.
As he should be.
Texas with 12 seconds to shoot.
And by the way, Budinger, some great players out of Southern California. Walton comes to mind. Billis.
Naturally.
He was. I love to tease him, but he was a heck of a player, I must admit.
Shot clock at 6. Augustine gives it up. Abrams in traffic will fire it up short range. And nothing but net for A.J. Abrams, who was the 6th man for Texas last year.
I think he needs to touch the ball more. He makes such good decisions.
They worked hard at getting through the cracks yesterday against the zone and finishing or kicking.
He has 7.
Nice slip. And Durant showed beautifully there.
Parker really looking for a shot here in the first half. That hasn't always been the case in the early games for the Bulldogs. Lewis in, fires his 3, and it's too long.
Nice check out by Pendergraph.
Durant has it swatted away, but a foul before that shot with 6:44 remaining here in the first half as we check in with Alan Hopkins.
Well, Dave and Jay, pretty much right on cue. Making it too easy was the point of emphasis for Coach Few in the huddle. He wants them to stay compact defensively. He wants them to start running more. But again, your point, Jay, is the one that Coach Few is making it way too easy on Texas, letting them off the hook.
A small minds think alike.
Heifeld will come back on for Gonzaga here. Durant at the line.
You could tell, Bill talked about the great checkout that David Pendergraph had on Durant. And even with a great blockout, that 7'5" wingspan was able to get up and get that offensive rebound. So blocking out sometimes not even
doesn't
enough.
work, yeah.
Mark Few really shuffling his big men here in the first half. Down by 1, but with the ball. And Pierre-Marie Altidore-Cespedes, who set the record for longest name in college basketball. Out to Rivio. It's been hot here in the first half. Heifeld with Durant on him. Here's Rivio. Weak side rebound, Altidore-Cespedes.
He's got to finish that play. Cuso had a basket.
Good hands. Really great job by Abrams. Didn't come up with it.
Heifeld will turn and miss. And again, it's Cuso. He's jumping up and over everybody at will, but he's unable to knock it back down.
Such a good offensive rebound. He kept that ball alive, which I think is a big key for offensive rebounding.
In Texas, after a hot start, thereafter they cooled off 35% shooting.
Well, you know, it's interesting. Gonzaga's fourth, they've played small now with the 3 guards, some tough matchups, and here's a discontinue or a walk.
Yep, a walk on Durant. He comes in leading the team in scoring, rebounding, block shots. He's also 46% beyond the 3-point line, but guilty of a walk there, and 9 turnovers for Gonzaga, only 5 for Texas.
You have to stay right on Kevin Durant, because even though he's struggling offensively right now to find a rhythm, it won't take him long.
Oh, that just it didn't develop enough for Pargo. They had a nice play.
With eyes on Heitfeld, but off the glass.
The beauty of that play, if you don't get the lob, you can go right into the post.
Well, they do seal beautifully on that play, but Pargo being talked to by Mark Few, I think that very reason now. Wait for it to happen.
Yeah, if it's not there right away, then let him seal off and then get it to him in the post where he's got a really deep post position. He's going to score or get fouled.
Altidore Suspet is picking up his first foul to send Lewis to the line, the junior from Amarillo.
By the way, it's nice to work with a gentleman, isn't it?
A real pro.
A guy that knows his business. Picks up a check once in a while.
Every once in a while, unless they're totally out of range, which has lately been the case.
We're going to take the wine list away from him, though. He's violated our cardinal rule. No twist off.
Yeah, too close to Christmas. Bolden trying to get rid of it, has not been called yet. Finally did. So they did not make the call there.
That was forever.
Yeah.
It was 1 Mississippi State University, 2 Mississippi State University.
Well, 11 on the shot clock. Texas by 1. And what has really turned into a low-scoring first half. Pargo got airborne. Tough pass to Heitfeld to finish.
Yeah, that's a nice play. Very heady dive to the tin by the big fella. And the delivery on the money.
Through too many defenders. There were 3 Texas defenders around that drive. That meant you're playing 4-on-2 the rest of the way.
That's where Pargo's tough, Dave.
And Gonzaga back in the lead here, 28-27. Durant on the baseline, left it short, and it's up and over that backboard. Let's go back to that last Gonzaga basket.
You can see on this drive the 3 defenders, really 4, and that just opens it up right there for Heitfeld. And he did a good job of following that play and having his hands ready. You know, so many big guys, when there's a guard penetration play, have their hands down by their sides. When you have your hands out, you can make the catch and then make a play a lot quicker.
The Bulldogs of Gonzaga right now ranked number 21 in the country. They have a big win over North Carolina in the NIT under their belt. Coming in 7-1. Pargo back out to Rivio. He won't shoot it here. Altidore Suspet got it. Nothing but net.
Wow, the 3-guard look. A lot of prime with the bounce and then the kick.
Gonzaga back on top 31-27. Abrams, nice kick for Durant, trying to finish. Tonight was Heitfeld, but Durant got it back and did end it.
You know, great players, the ball comes to them. You mentioned the check out earlier on Prendergast. It came to him. That one blocked, gets it right back.
Well, plus, he's not bothered by the block shot. He doesn't quit playing. He keeps going after it, and that's the sign of a guy who understands how to play.
Durant with 11. Altidore Suspet once again, but not this time. And Augustine with a rebound for Texas. Difficult pass. James had it knocked away, and there's actually a foul on James on that effort with 3:34 to go in the half.
The ability to turn the corner, get into cracks, you draw the attention. How about the 9-line? And take the big fella here, Jay.
And on the other end, Kevin Durant getting it blocked, but he sticks with it.
Scott Reese in our college basketball studios. Coming up on the halftime report, Len Elmore will join me and discuss the addition of Greg Oden into that already powerful Ohio State lineup. Also, we'll have highlights of a historic matchup between Kentucky and North Carolina. And, of course, all the latest from Championship Saturday on the college gridiron. Some good games already in the books, others underway. We'll update you from the studio. For now, back to Phoenix, Dave and the gang.
Scott, Len, thank you very much. Gonzaga looking sharp here with a 31-29 lead over Texas. It's a veritable who's who in this arena. The great Hubie Brown. How about the man on the NBA logo, Jerry West?
Great player. Got to enjoy watching him perform. And how about this guy? What a job he's done with the Olympic team and other ventures.
We just saw Raja Bell from the Phoenix Suns right before, and Jerry Colangelo played at the University of Illinois with Manny Jackson. How about that? Now runs the Harlem Globetrotters.
Hey, by the way, interested in the Cubs for you baseball aficionados?
Rivio with a 3. He's had a fine first half with 9 points. He is 3 out of 6 beyond that arc. And Gonzaga with a 34-29 lead.
I don't think Rivio got open by that much in warm-ups, let alone the game.
Here's to see if they get some penetration or passes in the box area. Texas, that is.
Abrams trying to get inside there. The rebound tips. James controls. He'll bank it in.
How strong is he? Ripping it down.
Well, he's averaging over 2 offensive rebounds per game. He's a big-time athlete. He originally signed with Oklahoma, Kelvin Sampson, and was let out of his letter of intent by Jeff Capel when he took that job.
A foul on Justin Mason there. A.J. Abrams, the 5'10 sophomore, actually picking up the foul there in his second. And that'll send Pargo to the line.
So Gonzaga, for the most part, has been able to get just about what they want on the offensive end. They've had a couple of problems. They've turned the ball over too much. They've got 9 thus far, and they've taken a few ill-advised shots, which I think are tantamount to turnovers. So they really should have a little bit of a bigger lead here right now.
I think the team that seizes the pace, Dave. And right now, it's a little frenetic at times on both ends. Less for Gonzaga, though.
Pargo had a fine game against North Carolina in the victory over the Tar Heels as he scored 16, so he's certainly capable of being that additional scorer for Mark Few. And he has 7 here in the first half.
He's such a tough player. And of course, his brother Gennaro played at Arkansas in the NBA.
4 guards on the floor, and nice job going inside against Bolden.
Durant gets it back. Got to force it up with the left hand. Heitfeldt's there for the rebound as he's back in here at the tail end of the half.
Nice.
Rivio left open for 3. Only 2 open maybe. And Heitfeldt right on top of the rim. He's guilty of the foul.
I'll tell you, that Tavern League discard, we can all relate. You know, you get there a little bit late and just put it in the lower back. How about the passing lane he created, Rivio, for himself?
Well, he did, and Bolden did a nice job because he ran the floor and crossed underneath. And Cespedes was so patient in letting that develop. That really got Rivio that shot. You know, that foul by Heitfeldt, that's one you can live with. Even though the discard on the offensive rebound opportunity, when you got a big guy going to the glass like that, you can live with a second foul like that.
So Heitfeldt with a little shove there. He goes to the bench. And James misses the foul shot. And foul shooting has been a little bit of an issue here in the first half for Texas. Pargo leans in and banks it in. Took it all the way.
How about the body control, the strength, and then the sweet little kiss delivery.
Well, plus, he gave the little fake, the head and shoulder fake to Pierre Altidore Cespedes on the wing, and that got the defense to stand up just a bit.
James knocked away by Bolden. Here's Rivio. In transition, he's knocked to the floor inadvertently, but a foul nonetheless. As James went right over his back, 1:51 to play in the half.
We've seen him use the same hand, change, a crossover. He's got some great strength. How explosive is he around the rim? I mean, he is confident with that soft little delivery.
It's like trying to guard a defensive back or a free safety.
Gonzaga with their biggest lead of the day in the Basketball Hall of Fame Challenge, U.S. Airways Center in Phoenix, Arizona, the home of the NBA Suns. And it started out like a Suns home game in the first 3 or 4 minutes, but it changed pretty dramatically after that.
And, you know, Texas, the last trip, they ran a little screen across, a little high-low, and great hands by Gonzaga, but it was a well-designed play, and the game has slowed down for some of that reason, a little more half-court on occasion.
You know, when Rivio steps the line, that's like an intentional walk in baseball. We have to just move on. He makes every one of them.
90% career at the line.
92 this year. His dad played at Portland. I'm sure he had a little something to do with his stroke growing up.
Pargo picking up the foul here with 1:43 to go in the half, and Durant at the line.
Rivio is just a gamer. Competitive kid, stubborn. Just one of those guys that absolutely hates to lose. And, you know, in talking to a lot of coaches, you ask them, would you rather have a guy who loves to win more or one who hates to lose more? And almost unanimously they'll say, oh, I'd rather have a guy who hates to lose.
Did you ever look that innocent?
No. I know you didn't.
You certainly don't now.
Durant makes the both.
A childlike appeal, the way he plays as well.
Well, you cannot underestimate him. He is a tough-minded competitor and a heck of a player.
Big game player, too, isn't he?
He has last year against Georgia Tech. He had 21 points. Scored 26 against Michigan State in that Maui thriller in November The game that you guys call the best game of the year, I thought. Here's Rabbio again, and buries another one, a three-pointer on target.
What a great job by Bolden. Filled at the elbow, collapsed the zone in the kick.
You really can't stay in zone in this team if you're not going to be right on Rabbio.
So coming up on 1 minute to go in the half, and Gonzaga has a 10-point lead. And they have quieted a very talented Texas team.
Texas has got a rebound now. This is a little bit of a force, but the small lineup, they've got to do some damage on the glass.
This is actually an important minute. I mean, this team can get a 2-for-1 if they choose to get one.
And Mark Few elects to call a timeout in this important minute. Actually now 49.7 seconds left in the half, and a timeout for the Bulldogs. Timeout. We'll take a break and be back with the last 49 seconds of the half here in Phoenix. Gonzaga on a 17-4 run. They've opened up a 10-point lead as we go inside the play.
And Jay, this particular play, they've done a great job. Dribble drive. You see Bolden right in the foul line. He jumps to the elbow right in here. And watch this. Well, we got the wrong side here. There you go. Bang. The ball fake sets this up.
Well, you get the ball inside, and it collapses the defense, and then you can kick it outside and either get an open shot or attack the closeout when it comes out to you. And one of the things that made that play was the original skip pass from one side to the other that made the defense move.
How did he see it with the dick out look?
The shaggy DA.
Gonzaga in the blue. An impressive first half here with a 43-33 lead. And Rabbio's been such a big part of that. Cuso calling for the ball there, had Hill right on his back. 9 seconds left to shoot. As Pargo took a glance at the clock here.
A good stop here for Texas would help them.
It's Rabbio launching away. He did get the shot off in time. So 15 seconds left and a timeout for Rick Barnes and Texas. And time to draw up one more play before the break. Catch 2 college basketball games tonight on ESPN and ESPN2. First at 5, it's Illinois taking on Arizona, and then at 7, number 23 Georgetown on ESPN2 battling number 10 Duke. That's college basketball on ESPN and ESPN2 tonight. Well, we have a moment here. After all, we are the Basketball Hall of Fame Challenge. How about the class of 06, the great Dave Gavitt?
I love Dave. Obviously, he's one that said get out of coaching and start announcing.
You know,
great vision.
Who's headed for the announce booth one day because he can talk with anybody. Sandro Gamba. And you know, we have a very special award as well. Joe Dumars, Dominique Wilkins, great players, of course. Charles Barkley in his more slender days. But here was the event of the night. Bill Raftery and the Kurt Gowdy Award, the broadcast award, and all of your great contributions to the college and professional game, Bill.
That picture was pre-Vino, I assure you.
You notice he was trying to wrestle the award away from the presenter.
A wonderful night for you as Abrams launches off the back iron. Rabbio with it. Time to get off a heave here. It'll count if it goes, and it's just off the front rim.
How alert is that kid?
Well, he had himself a very alert and productive half. Rabbio and Gonzaga, an impressive 20 minutes as they have taken a 10-point lead over Texas at the break. So we're at halftime, 43-33 your score. Now we send it back to the studio. It's the halftime report presented by UPS. Here's Scott Reese. Gonzaga ended the half on a 17-6 run. They've opened up a 10-point lead over number 25 Texas. Welcome back to Phoenix. Dave O'Brien, along Bill Raftery and Jay Billis. And Jay, I mean, Gonzaga getting shots a lot of different ways, shooting 50% the first half.
Well, they're really doing a nice job of getting the ball inside, kicking it back out, and penetrating and pitching. When they put the ball on the floor, they really do some good things with it. This in transition, Altidore Cespedes taking it to the rim and doing a nice job was Derek Rivio of going against the grain and getting open in the corner. He's got 14.
And Jay, what a great job. They're so experienced, recognizing the zone, the ball fake from Bolden, the kick to the corner, and the nylon. But, point guard, shooting guard, Rivio, you name it, he provides.
Rivio with 14 points. All of his points coming on three-pointers. In fact, he took 10 shots, and all of them beyond that arc. And Gonzaga distributing the ball very well. Back to Jay's point there and ending the half on a good run. They do have, the Bulldogs, 4 players with 2 fouls, including Heitfeld. So that is something to watch as we move into the second half. And for Texas, their 2 best scorers, Durant and Abrams, are a combined 6 out of 20 from the field. Although Durant does have 13 points. He is just 3 for 10 shooting it.
And this is a nice play. They run a back screen, get Heitfeld to the box. Don't have it. Pargo turns the corner. And how about Rivio? On fire!
17 for the guard and 5 out of 11 beyond the three-point line.
You let him get started early. And he can really put up numbers in a hurry.
The jump inside, and Mason gets 2 points for Texas. He now has 7. And Texas distributing the points up and down, but Heitfeld gets free again. Another basket for the big fella.
Well, Jay had talked about not getting back and recognizing there. Very faulty defensively.
Oh, this many young players on the floor, they're going to have defensive breakdowns, and you can see Texas trying to keep things spread a little bit more.
And again, the Longhorns with freshmen everywhere. 4 freshman starters in Mason, James, Durant, and Augustine. Mason, short jump shot. That'll go for Justin Mason.
Augustine can really do some damage with the bounce.
You see that spread floor really helped Texas on that last possession, making Gonzaga come further for their help and recover situation.
Look at this spacing. Oh, my goodness.
Cespedes with the reverse, and he lays it in off the glass.
Now, you give a lot of credit to Pierre-Marie Altidore Cespedes. That's a mouthful right there. But getting to the rim, but just a bad closeout by Texas there.
That was a 5-second call.
Durant spins the other way and lays it up. What a nice touch.
Yeah, getting to the rim. That's what he's got to do. Be a threat. Disdain the spin. Just be aggressive.
We talked about how Durant really struggled a bit in the first half. Still at 13 points. Got to the line 6 times. Knocked down each one of them.
And Texas in the first half, 8 out of 12 at the line. Mallon forcing his way to the basket. He's hit, and he'll go to the line. Alan Hopkins, I know you spoke with Rick Barnes at halftime, the Texas coach. What did he have to say?
Yeah, he was clearly frustrated. And basically, he said, we have not done any of the things that we talked about all week long and yesterday in practice. He said it's very simple for us to get back to this game, but to take care of the basketball. We're not moving it around. And I asked him about how he's feeling about his defensive effort as Gonzaga shot over 50% in the first half. He said it's simple as well. We just need to play harder.
Mallon at the line connects on the first. That foul on James, by the way, was his 3rd, so he comes out with over 18 minutes to play in the game. So one of the starters will take a seat next to Rick Barnes here.
Yeah, you know, Rick talking to the young people, it's going to be one of those years, I think, some nights are going to be extraordinary, and some nights they're not going to respond as well because of that youthful exuberance and maybe lack of concentration.
Well, one of the problems you have with the young team is getting sustained effort play after play after play. It's awfully difficult to do, and it's something that you learn as a team over time. But there are not a lot of juniors and seniors that can carry the load that these young players can look to.
Well, I promised these officials, that was a little nickel dime there, Rivio, but they're not going to let you put that arm on a guy dribbling. And rightfully so.
Those points of emphasis we've been concentrating on here in the early games. Now 1 month in. And for Gonzaga, a lot of people were predicting, well, there's no way they're going to be this good this early. Abrams around and out. And a foul and a rebounding fray. And yet without Adam Morrison and J.B. Batista, here they are 7-1. They have control of this one in the early moments of the second half against a very talented Texas team. Mallon, however, just picked up his 3rd foul. He'll have to step out. Pendergraph will come on here for Mark Few.
Mallon is one of those guys that really tries to do a terrific job. He was trying to check out. We've seen him do a good job in that area. He got caught with the slide.
Durant giving it up, maybe the most talented freshman in the country. At 6'9" out of Suitland, Maryland. And a weak side rebounding foul with 17:36 to play, and it's Pendergraft who'll get hit with it. So that will be his 3rd. And the fouls are coming fast and furious here for Gonzaga.
Well, they're trying to block out, but the referees are calling any kind of grab. And right now, the point of emphasis is on rough play in the post and down underneath the basket.
Durant catches the inbounds, misses the three. Heitfeld with a strong rebound.
Now, Allen talked about they were doing nothing that they worked on. And against the zone yesterday, they got the ball inside. Texas, nothing today. Everything the quick jack.
Livio, he's fouled as he started to make a move and a pass.
He does a very good job of attacking closeouts when the ball moved from one side to the other, and Augustine had to come out to him to get the ball. He attacked that closeout. That's very smart basketball by Derek Livio.
Watch Heitfeld. Sometimes they lob to him.
Fargo with Pendergraft right there. That's a three-pointer. A little too strong, but he got a good look at it. DJ Augustine pushing the tempo, slides in and draws contact. He'll go to the line.
That's just a bad foul by Heitfeld.
I was just going to say, I'd be a bad official because that was such a unusual delivery of a shot. I wouldn't call the foul. I mean, 1 against 4, back it out. Don't be in a hurry. You got some studs alongside.
But also, you're right, but also for Josh Heitfeld.
Oh, yeah.
That's one you stay away from because you know, the guy's in a bad spot. Keep your hands up, but you don't want to get a foul there. That's a cheap one.
And 3 of the bigs for Gonzaga now all have 3. Pendergraft, Heitfeld, and Mallon all within just a few minutes here.
Well, fortunately, if you're a Gonzaga fan, Texas hasn't been going inside all that much, so they're not really being put in a position to pick up more fouls with post play.
Abdoulaye Puso, the 6'9" junior from Nigeria, will get a lot of minutes here down the stretch, you would think, for Gonzaga. He gets the ball facing up on Hill. Now backs his way in, and he draws the foul. Hill got him. Personal foul on Matt Hill with 16:57 to go in a half. Catch 2 college basketball games tonight on ESPN and ESPN2. First, right here on ESPN, it's the Fighting Illini of Illinois taking on number 16 Arizona. And then at 7 o'clock, it's Georgetown and Duke, number 23, against number 10. It's the Basketball Hall of Fame challenge for us. And that game between Arizona and Illinois is a rematch of a thrilling overtime NCAA regional in 2005 in the tournament, in which Illinois stormed from 15 points down in the last 4 minutes to beat Arizona.
Just an unbelievable finish for Illinois and a heartbreaker for Arizona because they really did outplay the Illini for the first 35 minutes of that game.
Augustine will measure 1 and drain the 3. Absolutely nothing but net. They had missed their last 12 three-point shots before that one finally went down.
A little turnover here at Abrams with a nice penetration and found his partner.
He needs to have the ball in his hands more. This team runs and is steadied when A.J. Abrams has the ball in his hands.
Abrams with it here as he starts to move left. Into the corner, Mason. That caught the side of the backboard, and Pendergraft has the rebound.
Well, they are unselfish, and they run the floor wide open in the corner. Didn't see him.
Now Livio will back it out. The senior from Vancouver, Washington, who has had quite a day here against Texas. He leads all scorers with 17. They're running some clock here. The shot clock is at 12. Livio off the screen from Pendergraft. Airborne at the line. Too much rim. Puso battling for the rebound. Kept it alive. Pendergraft got a great look and missed it in close.
Hands.
The foul on Altidore Cespedes. He picks up his second, stops the clock. Just under 16 minutes to go, and Gonzaga in control. Gonzaga with a 52-44 advantage over Texas here in Phoenix. Great to have you along. Jay Billis, Bill Raftery, Dave O'Brien with you. We go back to 05, Illinois and Arizona in the tournament. Arizona led by 15 in regulation. Darren Williams with a game-tying three-pointer, 38 seconds to play. Arizona's Hassan Adams missed as time expired in overtime, and Illinois would go on to win the game in OT by a final of 90-89 in one of the great college basketball games, certainly in the tournament, in a long time.
An extraordinary comeback by Illinois in that ball game. They turned Arizona over late, and Arizona had Salim Stoudemire, Channing Frye, you mentioned Hassan Adams, the great players they had. They were up 8 with just over a minute to go, and they really couldn't get the ball in bounds and couldn't step to the line, be strong with it. Boy, it was awfully difficult to lose that game, but Illinois just took it.
And what a tough shot Adams ended up with. And maybe Stoudemire if he brought it down there, huh?
He looked like he was wide open on the tape there, didn't he?
Yeah.
But you could just feel it in that building. That was at the Rosemont Horizon, the All-State Arena. And I'll tell you what, the heart that Illinois showed at the end of that ball game, it's indescribable, really.
Durant down low, turns, and it'll roll in for him, all sorts of rim.
After the timeout, I mean, that's what they were working on in practice, going box to box, flashing, nice, soft, deft delivery.
And one of the reasons is Gonzaga's getting in some foul issues here. They've already got 5 fouls thus far in this second half, and Texas has got to keep putting them in a position to foul.
Well, Cuso got great position. Here's Durant, buries that three. He's starting to spring to life here in the second half as well.
He's out.
He has 20.
And a little one inside, and all of a sudden he got the proper trajectory. He had been a little low on his delivery.
He has no idea how good he is. I mean, he's scored at least 20 in every single game he's played this year.
Are you saying he's humble? Because I think he is.
No, I'm saying that guy's got everything. And he is still a developing superstar. He's a special talent.
His feel for the game is what impresses me, and this is what they worked on. And out of there, he can find some people. You can get some open jump shooters, but how soft is that delivery and stepping out, Jay?
And you usually don't see a guy that puts up a jump hook immediately step out to NBA range and stroke it with that kind of touch. I mean, look at him. He's like a hanger with clothes on right now. He's barely 18 years old and still developing. He's already put on 20 pounds.
Well, he had to overcome some obstacles. He had you at the skills camp, right?
I did work with him one summer, and just in awe of his ability. And he's a hard-working, nice young man.
That's what I loved most yesterday. He worked as hard as anybody in the practice.
You start looking for a flaw. You saw a freshman, maybe he's going to struggle at the foul line. 91% at the foul line. 46% beyond the three-point line.
And the only flaw he has is his uniform's baggy.
And misfires here. Down into the corner, though. Augustine collects it. Another opportunity for Texas. They've closed the gap to 55-49.
Big possession right here for Texas.
Durant on Cuso, who ties him up and fouls him. 14:04 left. It's the Basketball Hall of Fame Challenge, the inaugural edition from U.S. Airways Center in Phoenix, Arizona. Dave O'Brien, Bill Raftery, Jay Billis, and Alan Hopkins with Sean McDonough not here today. It takes 4 men to do the show.
Well, we certainly enjoy the talent level here, and particularly the one on the foul line. I mentioned the look, the baggy look. Todd Wright, the renowned strength and conditioning coach, has gotten him a little stronger. He's going to put some weight on. This is going to be a guy that can load up at some point in his career, Jay.
Well, he said he's never really learned how to eat, and now he's getting 3 squares a day, and then snacking with. He's putting on good weight. He's getting stronger, and he's also getting under some weights every once in a while and pushing them up.
Well, let him go out with Dave O'Brien and learn how to eat.
He sure will. Bolden inside, draws the foul. Before the shot with 13:52 left.
And that's what, speaking of feel, Jay, this kid has a great feel for the game too. Decision making, passing.
Well, especially the passing. He's leading Gonzaga in assists thus far in the season, and he does have an unusual feel for the game and making the right play.
Out of Highlands Ranch, Colorado. As Pargo taped up his shoelaces.
Colorado Player of the Year, huh? Chauncey Billups comes to mind. Pretty darn good player.
I'll tell you what, Adam Morrison comes to mind when you look at the haircut.
I think Dan Dickow, though, more so. Yeah, different hairdresser, maybe.
And no mustache.
No muzzy.
Not yet. 57-51.
1-2-2, 3-quarter court.
Austin broke it.
On the sideline.
On the side, he stepped out. And so the turnover brings it back to Gonzaga.
A nice defensive change there by Mark Few to put a little bit of full court pressure on, try to slow this team down, make these Texas youngsters think a little bit more.
Few, who entered the season with a winning percentage of .821, the highest in college basketball among active coaches, just ahead of Roy Williams, who is at .799. Pargo now with 11.
And they really run some nice stuff. Little shuffle cut, get Pargo to the box.
Heitfeld is going to report back in for Few here in a second.
Hold underneath it. Cuso on Hill.
Well, that's where you don't want to get in a fight down when the ball's being reversed. That's where you just break contact and get back into position.
7th team foul here. 59-51, and Heitfeld reports back in.
There's a little shuffle cut, get the guard to the body. This is where he impresses me. His body and elevation. He can soar over the bigs and command a lot of respect from guys his size.
Plus, he's so versatile defensively. He can take a little guy or a big guy.
They got a lane violation. Let's see.
No, they're going to give it back there.
And Mason came running in.
You know what?
That's just bad administration of the free throw.
Yeah.
That's the official's fault. They should have just redone it.
Well, here's
There's no
the thing,
reason for them to take a free throw away from Texas.
Was the ball in his hand, and then
but they gave it to him too early before they let everything set. There's no reason to take points off the board or a chance because of the way the free throw is being administered. That's the referee's fault.
I want to go to Judge Judy with you on that one.
Well, I don't think there should be lane violations, period, if the ball goes in.
I think it's sort of chintzy kind
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, who does it hurt? It hurts the guy who made the foul shot. Margot trying to make his move. It's Bolden. He can really shoot it out there, and this one will fall in. A three-pointer for the freshman.
Well, this kid, we mentioned his feel and passing, but for high school, 25 points a game, pretty impressive.
Well, they need to pass the ball inside to get this defense to collapse, then kick it back out. Right now, it's just going around the perimeter.
Well, now Durant got inside. Oh, goodness.
No foul called. Raivio in transition here. Gives it up to Bolden. Trying to use the glass there. Raivio will get it back and shoot it immediately. Smart shot as the defense was not set.
He also knew he had Hill, who wasn't going to come and challenge him.
Timeout, Texas. As once again, Gonzaga has opened up a 13-point advantage. Just when it looked the Longhorns were going to make this a game in the second half.
Scott Reese with a SportsCenter in-game update. You remember that Kansas team that knocked off then #1 Florida? All kinds of problems with DePaul. Sammy Mejia, the three-pointer, he had 21. And the Blue Demons knock off the Jayhawks by 7 points. Elsewhere, Ohio State and Valpo. Greg Oden has just a free throw thus far, but his Buckeyes are up by 7. Dave?
Thank you, Scott. It's our day to watch freshmen for sure. Gonzaga on top here, 64-51. Bill and Jay, what's an upset these days? I mean, DePaul knocking off Kansas. This was to your point earlier this week. What do we call an upset?
Well, that is an upset, but it's not a big one. I mean, DePaul's got some very capable players. Wilson Chandler's a star. Sammy Mejia, a very capable basketball player. So is it a shocker? No. But Kansas is not as consistent as they need to be.
I'm going to introduce Jerry Wainwright to Jack Nicholson. You don't go to the movies. One flew over
the cuckoo. Absolutely. Well, Gonzaga on a 9-0 run to drive Texas nuts because Texas had pulled it within 4 at 55-51, and the Zags right back out with a healthy lead.
Well, Bill was talking about this. This zone has really frustrated Texas.
Augustine trying to get inside it. Dipsy-do shot won't go.
Over on the wing, just past the ball. Mason waiting.
Margot all the way through. Foul, and he'll go to the line. And Gonzaga really starting to open things up now.
Pass the ball. Some good things can happen, fellas. The penetration consistent in the half court. How about the open court? A little strength. A little smooch in Phoenix with a sunburn. Give me some blackout.
The Zags opening up a 15-point lead over Texas. A Hall of Fame feel here at the Basketball Hall of Fame Challenge. Of course, the great Lute Olson of Arizona, the Texas Hall of Famers, and for Illinois, Jerry Colangelo's in the house with our own Alan Hopkins.
Jerry, talk about the Hall of Fame and this event here in Phoenix this weekend.
Well, I'm on the board of trustees of the Hall of Fame, and when we talked about putting on a doubleheader, I thought the best place to start it would be in Phoenix. And I think we have a good turnout. We have 4 great teams, and I think it's the beginning of building a tradition for the Hall of Fame. Each year we can build on what we do here this year, so it's kind of fun to be on the ground floor.
Obviously, the director of USA Basketball, Kevin Durant, one of those young, impressive players. What are your thoughts on him?
Well, I like him. You know, I saw him in the McDonald game last year as a high school senior, and he needs to fill out, get a little stronger, but boy, what great upside he has, and it'll be exciting to watch his future.
How do you think the NBA age rule affects college basketball?
It affects college basketball. Honestly, I've always been of the persuasion that kids should be in school for a couple of years. that's what I would prefer. But it's kind of hard to stop the steamroller. You need a lot of cooperation. And I guess we have to be satisfied with what we have. It's not the best. I wish you were better, but we have to live with it.
I really appreciate your time. Congratulations on your Hall of Fame status, and best of luck the rest of the way. Thank you. Back to you, Dave.
Jerry Allen, thank you very much. That gentleman is a giant here in the Valley of the Sun. Long time, of course, with the Phoenix Suns and the ownership group, and formerly the Arizona Diamondbacks as well. Gonzaga up 70-53 as Rivio just buried another one. Mallon, however, picked up his 4th foul for the Zags. And Pittman goes to the line here.
He's a great story, huh, Jay? The ability to lose weight and learning how to play. Big, wide body.
Well, he's dropped about 40, 45 pounds since he got to Texas. And I'll tell you, Gonzaga has done a really good job of taking advantage of Texas's youth in transition. They have really pushed the ball, and Texas has not responded with really good transition defense. And as a result, the Zags have gotten a lot of open looks in transition.
And the Zags so experienced, too. I mean, that's an element, Dave, when you're playing a team like Texas.
Rivio has just had a terrific day shooting, and he has 22 points. Raining 1 3-pointer after another. He's hit 7 of those. On the baseline, good catch by Heitfeld into the paint, off the front rim.
Well, they do a nice job. Offensive rebounding. Pendergraft really attacked there, backed off.
Well, Justin Mason has done a nice job in this game. Very quietly, he has really performed well.
That's a charge. Heitfeld absorbing that contact to go down. 70-55.
One more dribble there would have helped them, I think, you know. When they had the contact, could have used the left.
Gonzaga, despite losing their top 2 scorers in Adam Morrison and J.B. Batista, coming back with 81 points per game nonetheless. A school that went to the Elite 8 in '99, the Sweet 16 in 2000, 2001, and again last year. Pargo can't find a range this time, but he's had a big day with 14 points. His career high came earlier this season, 16 against Carolina.
Boy, the redhead does a nice job. He's always active on the glass, and they ran a little motion that time. Height felt a lot, bringing Pittman around, took him away from the glass. He got down there late on the rebound. He's a tough kid, isn't he, Pendergraft?
Yeah, just quicker to the ball, and that was just nice offense run by Gonzaga. The little slice cut, and then the screen for the screener, reversing the ball.
Pendergraft, the junior out of Brewster, Washington, 6'6". He is Mr. Blue Collar for Mark Few. Coming off the bench a lot last year, averaged about 18 minutes per game. And that one is in and out. They haven't missed many today at the foul line.
NBA, huh?
Abrams with the miss.
Stepped in a little bit. Run some clock. Get to the field. Make the defense go back and forth. Ashley with a nice recovery. One of the few, Jay.
Now Mason to back things out. We'll see if Texas has a run in them here. Down 71-55. And Gonzaga is really taking the life out of the Longhorns here in the second half.
This 2-3 zone, Dave, has really made Texas stand around quite a bit. I'm not exactly sure how to attack it because they're so young, still learning.
Abrams floats it up, missed it. Heitfeld with another rebound.
Now, yesterday they worked against it, and they were passing the ball beautifully.
Oh, on cue, huh? How about that pass by Pargo around the back, and Bolden able to keep it alive.
So they know how to pull the string and don't rush it. Back it off, get an open look.
Bolden's 3, got it.
Wow.
Just some confusion by Texas in communication and pickups.
Well, I'll tell you what, I did not expect this kind of a game. Anybody running away from anyone.
Well, when they go inside and get a toucher with the dribble, oh no.
That's a horrible call.
Going to be an offensive foul with 9:09 left.
I'm not so sure I agreed on the one with Durant earlier.
Neither one of them was a good call made by the same guy, but there's no way that's a charge.
Oh my goodness. Duped at best, and Rivio. Has he got an acting card?
But that's what happens when you put yourself in a position and you're the aggressor, and Gonzaga's been the aggressor.
And Bill Kennedy, Michael Reed, Tony Padilla, the officials in this contest. It is game 1 of the doubleheader as Heitfeld gives it back to Rivio. But on target all day long and now has 25.
And that's Heitfeld. He had run Pittman all around. Pittman just not the condition he will be later in the year. That opened it up pretty good with the dribble and the kick.
There's a wow factor in this one as the Bulldogs of Gonzaga are blowing away Texas.
Pittman really just can't get out. Now he jams. They got to step up. Everything breaks down, Jake.
Well, they're just running little flex action, and that's a lot of screens, you know, baseline screens and a screen down. And that's a lot for a young team defensively to navigate. You've got to communicate, you've got to switch off, and you have got to be very alert.
Rivio today.
This is like an NBA team, the schedule they played too, but when you have guards like Rivio, there's a lot of things that you can do very well.
Well, he shoots behind screens, he shoots off the dribble, he spots up very effectively, shoots off the catch. Just a very poised leader. And I think this year he has looked to score even a little bit more with Adam Morrison out of the mix. He has become more of a leader. And with Bolden on the floor more often, he's got an extra passer, so he doesn't have to do all the passing himself.
At 45% from three, Dave, he's pretty tough to contain.
Gonzaga flourishing here in Texas. Well, they seem to, wherever they go, they still have a lot of traveling left to do. And they've already been to Madison Square Garden. They're going to be going back against Duke before Christmas. And before that, they have to go to Atlanta to take on Georgia in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl Classic. And they have always been a program that will travel anywhere they have to go to get a game.
Maybe if you will pay some of his bills in New York. He was in there.
And Gonzaga on a 22-4 run to lead by 22 points.
And Texas had battled back to 4 down, but with some of the mental mistakes they made on the problem they had at the free throw line, you can see their upcoming schedule. It's a lot of heavyweights on there.
The battle in Seattle, Nevada, not Virginia, of course.
Well, one of the tough ones, December 9, going against Washington. That is a very good basketball team.
And Washington State, you know how they're going to play.
Fargo with a foul, sending James to the line, and that's in and out. Heitfeld's had a very strong day on the glass, despite a little bit of foul trouble. Fargo nearly lost it here, but Gonzaga has done a lot of good things today to open up a 77-55 lead.
And this is where you're going to find out your heart. And they're digging in on this trip. Let's see if they can be consistent defensively, Texas.
Well, Gonzaga's just got to use their over-aggressiveness against them.
Heigl taps in the miss.
Lingering between floors. This soft little delivery.
Everybody trying so hard to get out and put a hand up on a shooter. That's going to leave the offensive boards exposed. And Heitfeld really gets off the floor very well. Those long arms, great touch.
He has a double-double today. Durant showing why he was so highly praised coming out of high school, but not much in the second half. Heitfeld slams it down on the alley-oop. And with some authority, Gonzaga goes up 81-58.
He is athletic as well, huh? Send it in.
A bouncy athlete.
Josh Heitfeld, the guy who broke his left ankle in just the third game of the season last November, so he kind of disappeared. That was the championship game of the Maui Invitational against UConn. And, you know, he only wound up playing in 14 games, so he fell off the map a little bit, especially with Morrison and Batista.
Well, he is back on the map now. The shot goes up, and Josh Heitfeld there. What a nice tip in with a little kiss.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by the Jordan brand. Elevate your game. The Mellow M3.
A beautiful day here in the Valley of the Sun in Phoenix, Arizona, and Gonzaga is running away from Texas in a surprise. The Bulldogs in blowout mode here. Well, college hoops continues with 2 games from the Jimmy V Classic on Tuesday night. First at 7, Oklahoma State against number 14 Syracuse, and then at 9 o'clock, it's Louisville against number 16 Arizona. The Jimmy V Classic on ESPN on Tuesday. We get a first-hand look at Lute Olson's Arizona team later today here on ESPN. Game 2 of this doubleheader as Arizona takes on Illinois. Arizona, some of the players anyway, talking openly about revenge after that pretty salty loss at the hands of Illinois in the 2005 NCAA tournament in the regional. And looking for a little get back. as Ashley connects at the line, and Hill will come back on for Texas.
You know, having been in this position frequently in my coaching career, behind that is, what you're looking for, you got a whole season, Jay. You want effort, get out and guard, and just get back to being basic. You know, get a touch in the lane against the zone, and get something good out of it.
Well, plus, I mean, it's not out of the question that with the three-point shot, you have a chance. You never want to give up, and certainly want to try to win each last segment of this ball game. There's really 2 segments left until you get to the last 4-minute timeout, and then the last 4 minutes. But, you know, we saw a stat just a second ago: 19 assists for Gonzaga, only 6 for Texas. And, you know, if that doesn't illustrate the difference in experience with these two teams, I don't know what does. Everything off the dribble and individually for Texas.
Now Texas with an errant pass. Fargo inside draws the foul. He'll be shooting here just under 7 minutes remaining.
What a great running back he would be. I mean, he just challenges you, goes after the number, the chest. Very forceful by nature. You're backpedaling. Best you can do is swipe.
Fargo out of Chicago.
It's Gonzaga right now looking to hang 100 on this Texas defense, which is stunning considering how great of a defensive team Texas has been over the years.
Well, they will get better. There's no question about it. The talent level is there. Whereas Rick, been down the road, knows what it takes to become a solid basketball team, but just maturing. And I think this game is one of those tape sessions, Dave, where, you know, you're exposed a little bit now, and it's a little embarrassing for them.
Well, the 2 guys they were worried about most coming into this game, Derek Rivio and Josh Heitfeld, are the 2 guys that have hurt them the most.
Heitfeld with a double-double. He has 13 points and 10 rebounds, and Rivio with 25 points. He has made 8 out of 16, one three-pointer after another.
Move the ball and move the people. Well, that's a nice elbow pass.
Durant's off the back rim.
That's a good trick, though.
So we've certainly seen flashes of the tremendous ability of Kevin Durant, the freshman out of the state of Maryland. It looked like for all the world he'd be headed for the NBA if the rule would have allowed him to do so. Fargo will hold it here and run a little bit of clock now for Gonzaga.
And Dave, they know how to pull the plug. This is a solid team.
Isn't it funny we're talking about Durant? He's shown flashes and he's still got over 20.
He's got 25.
What a talent.
And 6 rebounds.
How about this guy? He's still filling it up, too.
A 2-pointer for Rivio, but he leads all scorers with 27.
Too quick.
And Durant never got down the floor. I mean, he was running and jacking it up before the guy gets in position, even offensive rebound.
So down the stretch we come inside the last 6 minutes. And it's going to wind up, it would appear, a very impressive win for Gonzaga. Texas, as you guys point out, will just continue to get better and better. And you would think, even though they'll drop out of the top 25 maybe as a result of this, they'll be back in again at some point. Because this team could run off 17 straight wins.
Oh, yeah, they're going to be very good. You know, it's just a little difficult sometimes under the gun. You're not used to it with a group this young.
Fargo knocking down that long-distance shot just in front of the shot clock. He has 18, and that's a new career high for Jeremy Fargo. And Billy's impressed you in so many ways today.
I love his attitude. He's so sound, and he's another one of those guys that's a decision maker.
He's an attacking guard.
Mason lets fly a 3. Justin Mason, the freshman, who averaged 25 a game as a senior out of Amarillo.
Had a nice game, Justin Mason.
He has 12 points.
The one thing about Rick Barnes as the year progresses, they're going to be able to yo-yo you. You're going to play small at times. These big guys are going to improve. It's going to be a different look, and I think they'll get better defensively because this is a great illustration of what teams can do if you don't get in the stance and make sure you jam things, check them out, rotate and help.
Great fake there by Heitfeld, but he missed the jump shot.
And you see Hill go out and challenge. It's pretty good.
Durant running the floor, skipping inside. Heitfeld made sure he didn't get the basket. 4:25 left here.
Heitfeld wants some write-ups, I think. He's not going to give Durant an easy one.
We mentioned it on the floor at Madison Square Garden. Under the bright lights there, had an excellent game against North Carolina. And Tyler Hansbrough with 19 points and 8 rebounds in that victory over the Tar Heels. But then had to do a lot of sitting and early foul trouble in the final against Butler. The Butler team that's so disciplined, shoots the three-pointer so well, really spreads things out. And he was kind of a non-factor in that game.
Yeah, you mentioned it, picking up the fouls. And the fouls he picked up were 2 cheap ones. And when that happens, you spend more time on the bench, and that Butler team with A.J. Graves and Mike Green.
He can shoot the threes.
I think they knocked down 12 threes.
How about their month, right? Indiana, Notre Dame, then on to New York and doing all that damage?
Yeah, and getting into the top 25 for the first time in, 4 years? Mallon picks up his dribble for Gonzaga, leading 87-64. If you're just tuning in here, as we slip underneath 4 minutes, you may be as surprised as we are. We've talked a lot today about Texas starting the 4 freshmen. And you will get performances like this when you start that many kids. Augustine, here's Durant. He's showing off his skills.
He can run the floor, too. That's what makes him something special. But counter that Gonzaga, step and cut. They really read the way you deny them. You take an inside cut if you don't take it away.
And there you can see Augustine, terrific passer, averaging about 7 assists per game as a freshman thus far. And this game not particularly representative of how good he is or how good he's going to be.
Fargo trying to go all the way through, knocked out by Durant. 3:21 to go.
In the open floor, he can be beautiful. More touches against the half court would help around the rim, but up big, soaring like Connie Hawkins did this heyday.
Scott Reese with a SportsCenter in-game update and the collegiate debut of one Greg Oden. Well, looks pretty good on the defensive there with the rejection, and that would lead to Oden's first collegiate field goal. He's got 3 points in the game, 1 field goal you'll see here, and 1 free throw. Full highlights, and of course, USC-UCLA coming up on College Game Night after we're done in Phoenix, guys.
All right, Scott, we, a little bit later on, have Arizona and Illinois, what should be a dandy in the Basketball Hall of Fame Challenge, the inaugural event here at the U.S. Airways Center in Phoenix, Arizona. This event will be moving around to different locations in following years. They've got an eye on Boston for next season's challenge. Shot clock is at 7. Rabbio sees it. Eichel trying to keep it alive, and he did. Tap it to Mallon. And a fresh shot clock here for Gonzaga. Up big, 87-66.
And Mallon and Heitfeld, a couple of skilled, really solid big guys.
And they know how to keep it alive and get it back. How could they not double Oden?
Getting on Homer Drew, are they?
Hey, speaking of refereeing, at one point, Jay, this game was pretty darn close in the second half, 55-51. Texas has made a run to cut it to a 4-point game, and then there was a little controversy at the foul line on a lane violation.
Yeah, the only controversy for me, it was the right call. I just thought that it should have been administered a little bit better with such young teams in the game getting close and all that stuff, but it was clearly the right call.
But a killer call.
Yeah, but one that really doomed Texas with the way they handled the ensuing moments.
Here's Bolden open, got it off in time, but missed it.
Now they got 1 out of 2. They got all the clock. They didn't get the score. Go inside. Take a look. Make yourself bigger.
Instead, the corner jumper by Lewis is a 3-pointer on the money. And we've kind of kidded about it a bit. Durant has 29 points. Yeah, we've seen flashes, although I would say a good hunk of that scoring has come when the game was decided. But early on, putting on a show, and his ability to run the floor at his size, at 6'9", and catch the ball in traffic and do all of those things.
He's got every tool you'd want. But, even though he missed a few shots in the first, he had 13 points in the first half.
3 for 10, I think he was at the half. But, if they had guarded well and done some things, all of his point total would have much more impact. But they rushed shots, turned it over, didn't handle a dribble drive on the defensive end.
And Mark Few changing up his defense totally confused Texas and changed the tempo of this game in Gonzaga's favor, although they're on the road to 90 points plus. So they've done plenty of scoring today.
Well, they could have had 100. They took their foot off the gas and really spread the floor and started using the entire clock.
These two guys, good friends, and really understand the game. Long season, you won, you walk out, the other guy's got to go home and start over.
But you remember, Bill, at the press conference a couple months ago when we were out here in Phoenix for it, they had all the coaches here, and when Rick Barnes spoke, one of the things he said was, if Mark Few loses this game, he's going to have been out-coached badly.
Well, they have that kind of a friendship. Exactly 1 minute left. And a timeout on the court, 87-72. More college hoops tonight on ESPN and ESPN2. First at 5, it's the Fighting Illini of Illinois taking on Arizona. Chase Buninger, by the way, another one of those freshmen to watch. one of those do-all talents. And then at 7 o'clock, it'll be Georgetown taking on Duke, number 23, against number 10.
Have you ever heard as little said about a terrific player like Green at Georgetown?
Yeah, I mean,
nobody says anything about it.
I agree. I mean, he's so understated as a player, does everything well. I think it's because he doesn't put up the big scoring numbers that we in the media like to see and like to be, get us all excited. But he's really, really a terrific player.
I agree with you,
all
Jeff
around
Green.
player.
You know, he reminds me. Now, this is crazy. Dean Smith with Jordan. I mean, he didn't put up extraordinary. Everybody knew he was good, but same thing. Just learn how to play and make good decisions. Terrific teammate.
Well, final seconds here. Raivio, who's had an outstanding day with 27 points to lead Gonzaga in scoring, and really has led them to an impressive win over the number 25 team, Texas. 11.7 seconds to play here. College game night coming up next. Talking about a heralded freshman making his debut finally. A top 10 team going down. Another upset, so to speak. And a record-breaking day, Division III. All coming up. We have about 25 minutes in between games. Still on the way, we've got Arizona and Illinois in a Basketball Hall of Fame challenge from the U.S. Airways Center in Phoenix. But game one belongs to Raivio and Gonzaga. 87-77, and it really, guys, was not that close in the end.
No, not at all. Good, solid overall play. The Zags are tough, not easy, and the zone really made it hard for Texas, Jay.
Final score again. Mark Few and Gonzaga in the win column over Texas, 87-77. Now let's go to the College Game Night Studios with Scott Reese and Len Elmore. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Arizona, Illinois, coming up.